the next panel to join us. Could I ask the panel here to please go back to your seats? And could the next panel join us, please? That's His Excellency Pat Bourne is joining us online. So is Kevin Ryan. Hello, Kevin, from the Ploughing Championships in Ireland. Can you hear us? I expected to see tractors and high agri-tech in the background. We have, Mark Faherty from Kerry Group, Jonathan Dvorkin from Wellman International, and Donal Boylan from BCAP. If you take a seat there, to the right, please. Okay. Thanks so much. Okay, so we need to get into this session. Thank you, everyone. Now, Ambassador, I'm conscious that it's quite late there, so we'll perhaps go with you first to get things back on track. And Kevin, I understand you're under time pressures there. I know you're with a lot of clients, so we'll go straight to you after the Ambassador. So Ambassador Pat Bourne is with us, as I said. Pat, could I ask you for your thoughts on what you heard so far, and basically just to kind of, bring us back to practicalities now in terms of Thailand-Ireland business partnership opportunities going forward. Over to you.
No, thanks very much, Martin, and congratulations to you, and congratulations to all the panelists and speakers so far. I think it's been a really excellent session so far today. It's a very, very timely and very important and really good to have it. I think it has been practical in many ways. There have been some really practical discussions about where the opportunities lie in terms of investment, in terms of trade, in terms of services in particular, and the game changer that the free trade agreement can be. I mentioned earlier that free trade agreement could be expected to add 3% to two-way trade. If at the moment that's in the region of 3 billion euros a year, then the addition could be easily 100 million per year, which is quite significant. And I think one of the best ways to kind of judge where that extra revenue might come from, where the extra opportunities would be to look at the areas that are covered by the free trade agreement on the one hand, the areas that Thailand has identified as priorities on the other, and where Ireland's strength lies. The free trade agreement, as I said, is very comprehensive. It really covers the entire gamut of trade in goods and services, and indeed future-proofing in terms of covering digital economies and new areas of engagement. In terms of the Thai government programme, Prime Minister Thaksin, who was in power up until a few weeks ago, laid out his vision 2030 not very long ago, in which he launched the Ignite Thailand programme, which singled out 8 specific sectoral areas where he and his government felt that Thailand could be a regional leader and a strategic hub. And I think there's every reason to believe that the new government, led by Paetongtarn Shinawatra, will very much apply continuity in that regard. So we can expect that sectors such as tourism will continue to be a very high priority and will continue to be a big focus of resources for the Thai government. Wellness and medical services is another one that they've identified, the second of the 8 areas. Agriculture and food is the third. Aviation is the fourth. Logistics is the fifth, that we've heard quite a bit about already. Future mobility, which covers electric vehicles and other applications in that line. Digital economy, and finally finance and financial services. So you can see from those 8 areas, I think there's a very strong overlap between where Thailand is prioritizing its economic development over the period ahead, and areas where Ireland has particular strengths. Food and drink, obviously one of them. There's been references already to the trade mission that will be led soon here by Senator Pippa Hackett. So you'll be looking at opportunities to sell Irish beef here when beef access opens up. It's already a very important dairy market for us. It's an increasingly important market for Irish beverages. There's opportunities also for seafood and for nutritionals and food agreement, as well as agri-tech to improve yield, to improve food sustainability and food security. And again, there are great opportunities there, considering that big corporations like CP Group genuinely have an ambition to feed the world. They really see themselves as global players who are changing the food scene. And we're very excited about the fact that the chairman of the CP Group will be in Ireland next week to attend the Gather Global Summit being organised by the Irish Food Board BIA. Education, a really big area where Ireland has advantages and where there are opportunities. We've already talked about the growing numbers of students going there. We've talked about the opportunities for joint programming, eventually campuses or sub campuses here and opportunities in the whole area of digital literacy. ICDL from Ireland is doing wonderful work in this region, including in Thailand, in terms of rolling out its services and its certification methods. And sustainability, the whole green agenda, from green financing, carbon trading, right through to renewables and EV components and EV software, sensor technology. I think there's great opportunities there, and lots of leading Irish companies that can make a difference. And recycling, and very appropriate that Wellman are there. Really a good example of a Thai-Irish engagement that's making a contribution to the circular economy. Digital services, one of Ireland's obvious strengths, and health and life science. I know Kevin will talk about this because we see real opportunities for growth in that whole area. And Thailand is, of course, positioning itself as a global medical tourism hub. Reference already to direct airlinks. I think that would certainly help. Direct flight between an Irish airport and Bangkok would be wonderful. But even an airline that had a two-stop hop that would connect better with Ireland and Thailand would also help as well. And there's a case for it, not only in terms of human traffic but also in terms of freight and cargo traffic. So I think there's some great practical opportunities there, and I really look forward to hearing what the panel has to say. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. That was very helpful. And I know some of our Thai colleagues flew here with Qatar Airways. So as you say, direct flight, wonderful, but there's many ways to get to Thailand and many options to do so. Straight into you, Kevin. Ambassador Pat Bourne has outlined some of the key areas. When we were preparing for this, you spoke a lot about the untapped potential of business opportunities in Thailand and basically how to address those, mitigate challenges, and how to further accelerate perhaps growth in agri, healthcare and higher education. Over to you, Kevin.
Thank you, Martin. Can you hear me okay?
There's some background sound.
Hello.
Sorry, there's some background sound there, Kevin. But okay, look.
Sorry, yeah.
Let's just go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm here in a tent in the middle of a field in the Midlands in Ireland, so please bear with me. I'm not sure how many satellites are bouncing this around the world back to Dublin, but I'm delighted to join you here today. Unfortunately, I can't be with you in person. As you mentioned, I'm here leading a delegation from Southeast Asia back here to Ireland for the Agri-Tech. And I suppose Ambassador Bourne touched on a number of key areas, and I was delighted to hear him mention the Ignite reference as well, because it dovetails very nicely into some of the key strengths that Ireland has. So our remit as a trade agency is to support and accelerate the Irish companies targeting overseas markets. And for us, Thailand is a very key market in Southeast Asia. So obviously I'm based with a team in Singapore. We have a base in Vietnam and KL. And we see Thailand as a really key market, strategic market for us. The growth that we're seeing over the last number of years has been really, really strong post-COVID. Year on year, last year, for example, just to give you a sample, we've seen 23% year on year growth in terms of exports to the market. And that's one of the highest in Southeast Asia, bouncing back from post-COVID. So for us, we see a huge potential. And even over the last 5 years, just to give you an example, it's grown more than 150% in terms of exports. So clients really are shifting their heads to the Southeast Asian market of Thailand, and we're there to help them. And I know Ambassador Bourne touched on a number of partnerships. Now, partnerships are key to this success and to sustain success in the market. He touched on a number of key partners we've had in the past: CP Group, Amata Group, Central Group as well. I know there are some of the partners in terms of the companies we would look to highlight and to promote into the Thailand market. BDMS, from a life sciences perspective, from a healthcare perspective, we've strong partnerships going on in there. So again, that we see a huge, as you mentioned, untapped potential from a life sciences perspective, medical devices, diagnostic equipment. Again, huge amount of strengths from Ireland, being able to come over and to tap into the huge population and the growth that's going on in Thailand. So we're here to help. We're here to accelerate all of that. FinTech, I know Ambassador mentioned fintech as well, and recently this year, earlier on this year, we supported a number of clients attending Money 2020 in Bangkok. So again, these are the kinds of things that we're looking to do more and more. This event this week here in Ireland, we support the CP group here attending it last year, and again we see a lot of benefits coming out of that, and it really highlights the opportunities for Thailand, and it's only when you see and when you meet with these companies, the likes of CP, you see the breadth of opportunities that are on there. So for us, Thailand is a very key, important market. Education as well. I'd be here for the next 20 minutes naming all the universities and HEIs that are engaging in the market. And it's great to see. And we want to see more of it. And working with yourself, Martin, working with the Ireland House, so under Ambassador Bourne, and the Irish Chamber, again, we're all stronger together. And I feel very strongly about that. And I know it's great to see the EEC travelling into Ireland this week. And I was there before, and I would very much welcome the opportunity to go and visit again and see where we can really drive change and where we can really drive growth into the future. So I might leave it there for a minute and open if there's other questions or other things that you want to discuss.
Thank you so much. And we will, of course, encourage, obviously, Enterprise Ireland as the first point of call for Irish companies. Kevin, with your permission, can we disconnect you because there's a lot of noise in the background? I don't mean to be impolite. It's clearly all the people at the ploughing, and I hope it's a great success for you and your clients. So if it's okay, we'll disconnect you. And then when we do the summary after, we'll see can we remove the noise during your presentation, but we'll summarise the key points anyway. Listen, thank you very much. So we let you there, okay? Thank you for joining us, Kevin. Enjoy the rest of your stay to Ireland. Hope it all goes well with your clients, and pay me the kind, Arish. We'll talk again soon. Thanks very much. So that was Kevin Ryan, everyone, who's the director of ASEAN, based in Singapore for Enterprise Ireland. Okay. Now, that sets us up perfectly. Only in Ireland you get somebody who says, I'm in the middle of a field. Now, well, that brings us to Mark Faherty and Kerry Group, who is in the middle of our group here. And issue matters, I have to profess my bias. We're very fond of Kerry Group. We have these awards, which my colleague Samantha organises every year. It's a big event, 19th of November this year, but Kerry Group is the only organisation that we ever gave a Lifetime Company Achievement Award. We've given it to individuals like Martin Upton, great people, but Kerry is the only company because for many people in Ireland, Kerry's an inspiration. Essentially, it was a small group of, I don't mean this disrespectfully, group of farmers who basically came together and created a global company that's much more than a dairy cooperative now. It's food ingredients, flavours, nutrients. Anyway, you're the expert. So I suppose in our preparation, you were saying basically, Mark, that you want to talk a little about your investment strategy, how Thailand fits into this, the market ecosystems, why you're there, the global companies that are there, and the Kerry approach to doing business. So essentially, why are you in Thailand? Why do you stay there? And why do you have, as you mentioned, a regional centre based out of Thailand? So over to you.
Very good. Yeah, this on? Yeah. Martin, thank you very much for the kind introduction, and I'm glad the Cork bias doesn't hold against us, being from Kerry. Good to be with you all. Just a very brief, Martin, you mentioned it, our context, but just so that the audience knows, because I'm sure that many of the locally based audience might have heard of Kerry Group, but I would bet that only a minority actually know what the organisation is today, because we've evolved quite a bit. As Martin said, we were established as a dairy business in the southwest of Ireland 50 years ago, but we've evolved quite a bit since then, and today we are a specialist ingredient provider to the food industry around the world, serving food, beverage and pharmaceutical markets. Our products are really in taste components, in food protection, and in products with functional benefits that can, add health benefits to foods. So effectively what we do is we make food tastier, healthier, more nutritious. That's our role. We operate globally, so we're in most markets around the world, and we have an investment base pretty much covering the globe. We've been in Thailand for 22 years, so since 2002. Sounds quite recent, but it's almost a quarter century, which is terrifying to think. And our presence there is, we have 2 facilities, one manufacturing facility and then a commercial and innovation office. We employ about 300 people in the country. A couple of things about our investment. I've mentioned the center we have is an innovation center for 2 core technology offerings that we have for meat market users and for beverage producers, in an innovation center for both of those end markets. And that innovation center serves the region. So that is one of the important reasons why we're in the market. It provides an important regional base for the group. Really, though, when we think about the investment, and I'll mention a little bit about how this fits into our investment approach overall, we always seek to be close to the market that we're operating in. So our approach is not really a trade-driven approach, it is more an investment approach. And that's the model that we have in Thailand, and that's the model that we have in most markets where we operate. So, looking at Thailand, it was one of the early countries when we were making a large investment push into Asia. Thailand, of course, would be very high on the list of countries that we wanted to invest in. A couple of key reasons for that. Number one, the dynamic market that it represents. It's a market that has had good growth over the years. It's a sophisticated market, a well-developed market. And so there is opportunity within the country for that alone. I mentioned it provides us with a regional base. So not only are we serving the large market of Thailand itself, but Southeast Asia and even beyond that. Some of the products that we produce in Thailand are exported back to Europe, are exported to Japan, so have a large export field. 2 other very interesting reasons why we are in the market and why the market is one that we pay a lot of attention to. It is the innovation within the sector. Thai consumers really can lead the world in the tastes and the preferences and the new products that emerge in the market there. So often what we see coming through in the Thai market, we can then take to other markets around the region and around the world. So it is a center for innovation. And as I mentioned, beverage innovation is a key component of what we look at in the market. And then I think it was referenced, Thailand has such large food industry players, globally important, and many of them are our customers. So being close to those customers is important to us, and working with those customers as they expand around the world. So I think the key thing that I would say on this is that our presence in Thailand, it is based on not just investing in the market so that we can trade in that local market. It is much more than that, because we see the possibility of creating innovation in Thailand, of producing in Thailand, and having Thailand as an export base within our network, a base from which we can do business in the region and around the world. So that, I think, is it is a model of investment for Kerry, but Thailand suits that model so well because of the resources, because of the market, because of the innovation orientation, and because of the skilled population as well, and the sophisticated and dynamic market. So for all those reasons, that's our presence.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we're really coming tight on time. Officially, this session finishes in 3 minutes. So we don't have a lot of time.
So I have 30 seconds.
So well, actually, do you want to do Jonathan first, if it's okay, and we'll wrap up with you, Donal. Jonathan, you're one of the few heads of a Thai company in Ireland. I wish we had more Thai companies. You work with people in Indorama Ventures. You head up Wellman. Have you any thoughts, like very, very briefly, not only the work you do, but advice for people on working with Thai partners?
Can you hear me? Okay. Hello, everyone. So I'm glad to be here. Glad to meet you people here. As Martin mentioned, my name is Jonathan Dvorkin, and I'm the operational head of the Wellman International site by Indorama Ventures. So we probably the biggest, by far the biggest, but probably the only manufacturing site, Thai manufacturing site operating here in Ireland. So there are many connections. If you go in and looking at our site, our official site by Indorama, you will see in the core values of the company, they are all about being responsible. They are all about sustainability. It's very connected to your presentation, Dr. Chula. So with the recent BCG initiative introduced in Thailand. So we are all around this area. We're producing products which are good to people, which could be recycled. I had some presentation, marketing presentation ahead of this. I know. I had some notes also prepared, but I will do it interactive, as you asked, Martin. So, can you see this item in my head, in my hand? What do you see?
PET bottle.
You see the bottle, right? This is the empty bottle. Okay, so what this bottle we can do is, it can end up in the bin, it can go afterwards into the landfill and finish after 200-300 years be degradable in the landfill. But there is another life cycle which this bottle can deserve. It could be accurately collected, it could be sorted, it could arrive to, by the way, in Indorama, having only full recycling facilities operating and manufacturing the recycling fiber in the world, out of 100 and more than 100 sites we have. The one is here in Kantikawan, another one in the Nakhon Pathom area in Thailand. And we are working on a very cooperative mode. We exchanging knowledge, we exchanging our practices, and that's what we are doing actually. We're converting bottles, we have invested in Ireland during the recent years in new generation recycling capabilities, so we can recycle much more than the bottles. We can recycle yarn, we can recycle even the lamps, what we call rock or polyester rock. We can recycle, convert into the fiber. And we very actively promoting the circular economy initiatives. Like, for example, the last one I will mention and then pass to my colleague here. We actually cooperating with our colleagues who collecting the post-consumable mattresses. We recycling the layers, which are polyester layers of these mattresses, converting back to the fiber using actually converters working with us in cooperation to take this fiber and convert into the mattresses back. And that's a true story of full circular economy based operation. And I hope to see more and more of them coming through our facility or any other Nakhon Pathom and other businesses working in this direction.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you. And again, apologies, everyone. We're getting tight on time. And I will say that we have at home a very large Coca-Cola bottle. And inside the bottle is a golf polo shirt. I don't know why I got pink, but a golf polo shirt that's pink, which is made from the same Coca-Cola bottles, courtesy of Wellman. So thank you very much. Donal, 3 minutes, please.
I have a raincoat from such fibres. I just to plug it. Probably talk about two things, just very quickly. An anecdote I hear everybody talking about CP, and I think there's great opportunity both for Irish companies to supply the food chain and distribution and manufacturing in Thailand, whether that's components or raw materials or technology. But talking about CP, you know, a bit like Kerry Group, came from a seed store and has become the largest private company, group in Thailand. And Zhengda, as it's known in the Chinese food market, it's the largest exporter or the largest Chinese importer of food. So if we could do one thing in Ireland is instead of trying to sell to China direct, let's try to find out how we can sell through CP. And Chris, or Supakiji, the chairman, he's very fond of Ireland. When I last met him, which is pre-pandemic, the connection was James Galway, because he's a great flute player in his own right, Chris. So there's always an Irish connection that we don't recognise. My own background is aviation, and since I'm on a time limit, I'm not going to say too much, but there's a lot of hidden things out there. So there's $300 or $400 million of aircraft finance leasing trade between the two countries. And I'm also involved in an airline group. I'm vice chairman of Vietjet, which has the number 3 airline. I say number 3 in size. I'm not necessarily saying number 3 in experience. And that airline has doubled in size, in fact, in the pandemic. So Thailand has demonstrated it's a very resilient tourist market. It's the forerunner in Southeast Asia. Everybody else tries to follow on its coattails. Like most other countries in the region, it's only recovered about a third or a half of the Chinese market due to the depressed domestic economies in China. And that's despite the improvement in e-visas and all the other things that could make travel easier. But the future, and I see it for land bridge, and I see it for tourism, is increasingly India. And the Indian dynamic for all of us here in Ireland, where they're probably one of our largest economic immigrant groups, and for trade and tourism, they have managed to fill the breach of Chinese tourism and the slow recovery from Northeast Asian, Japanese and Taiwanese and Korean tourism.
Sorry, Donal.
Yeah, so I'm done, thank you. So I'll finish with one thing just to say, again on that topic. We mentioned direct flights. Aircraft can now reach here. Newer, smaller aircraft can reach Ireland from Asia that could not do so before. And I can predict that there will be 3 airlines from Southeast Asia capable of flying to Ireland in the next 2 to 3 years. And the one thing that people have to remember, it's not just about Ireland, Thailand, and so forth, is Ireland has the greatest linkage into all the cities outside London in the UK. So all those students in Thailand, or indeed other countries in Southeast Asia, or indeed China, who want to access their university in the UK, the easiest way to do it is through Dublin.
Thank you. Thank you. Can we thank our panel, please, and bring up the next...